Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Josh Goldstein, your favorite immigration lawyer, coming at you. And we have a lot to talk about today. Today, we are discussing what to do if your visa is denied. Your visa is denied. What do you do in that situation? If you don't know me, I'm Josh Goldstein. I am an immigration lawyer, and I help people reach their immigration goals, whether it's green card, citizenship, tourist visa, whatever it is, we can help you out. I've been doing this for more than 20 years, and on social media and on my website and by email, I share as many tools, tricks, tips, and hacks as I can to try to inspire you and try to help you reach your immigration goal. I've been getting a lot of questions from people about what to do if your visa is denied. Sometimes people aren't even denied, and they'll contact me ahead of time. They'll say, wait a minute, what do I do? What's plan B? I need to know plan B. If my visa is denied, what do I do? And it's hard, right? It's very hard. So today I'm going to give you some insight into this. So the first thing that you need to know about visa denials is that there is something called the doctrine of consular non-reviewability. What is the doctrine of consular non-reviewability? Well, it's a law that I don't like, but it is a law, and it says that the decisions that the consulate makes are not reviewable. So if they make an unfair, crazy, wrong decision that's completely ridiculous, there's nothing you can do about it. You're stuck with their bad decision. There's no way to appeal the denial of when a consulate denies you. There's nothing you can do to appeal. So that's one thing. Let's see here. So you can't appeal the denial, and that's tough. The second thing you need to know is that the consulates never explain why they deny you. If they deny you, they just give you a little worksheet and they check a box, and that's it. That's all you got. And that's really, really frustrating for so many people, because you have worked so hard. All of your hopes and dreams are tied up in your visa, and to get denied is just tough. So you have to come up with a strategy that's going to work, that's going to really help you reach your goal. I always ask this, but if you don't mind, friends, can you just put in the comments below where you're located? I really love hearing and seeing where people are from. So let me know. I am coming to you on this beautiful Friday from Los Angeles, California. And I'm very happy to do it. Now, the thing that you have to know about visa denials is you have to come up with a strategy to help you get approved. And that's hard because you don't know why you weren't approved. So you're just kind of flying blindly. And I've heard some Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Is there ever a better name for a city? Truth or Consequences, New Mexico? Truth or Consequences. Wow. Let's think on that for a minute. But you don't know why your visa was denied. You don't know. You don't know. Look at this. I'm going to copy this. Kamal, we got you. My team's going to reach out. You don't know why you're denied when you get that. And sometimes a denial comes in a mysterious form. If you're applying for a fiance visa, you need to know this. They will send you a message, and the message will say, I'm going to send you back to, they say, we're going to send your visa back to USCIS, to the Department of Homeland Security, for possible revocation. Possible revocation, it sounds like there's some new steps coming, but there aren't. Once you get sent back for possible revocation, your case is going to be denied. What I usually recommend in this case is that people get married and reapply. A lot of the strategies that I use to overcome visa denials are based on reapplying. So that's one possibility. If you got denied for a fiance visa, for example, then you can get married and apply for a marriage-based visa. If you got denied for a tourist visa, you could apply for another tourist visa. Or maybe the real reason you want to come to the US is not just to visit. Maybe you really have a significant other in the US. In that case, you could consider a fiance visa or a marriage-based visa. But I want you to think, when it comes to visa denials, I want you to think not of an appeal, of a way to challenge the denial. I want you to think of reapplying so you get another chance. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have questions about this. Put them in the comments below. Put them in the comments below. Please let me know. Please let me know. I'm going to take some questions. I'm going to stop for a minute and take questions. What do you guys want to know about? Let me know in the comments below. Here's a question from TikTok from Salar Khan. Hi, sir. The NVC accepted my documents last week, but I did not get DQ'd yet. Do you know the reason why? Yes, I do. So let's give you a little bit of background. When you're applying for a visa, you file a visa petition, an I-130, an I-730, and I-140, whatever it is. You file a visa petition. And after USCIS approves the visa petition, it is sent to the National Visa Center in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The National Visa Center asks for more fees, more forms, and more information. And it reviews these documents. And after they've reviewed everything, they give you a thumbs up to show that everything that you've done has been reviewed and approved and that you're done with the NVC. And that process, when they've approved everything, that's when they tell you that you are DQ'd. And DQ means documentarily qualified. Can you say that 3 times really fast? Documentarily qualified. So that's what happens. So the process of getting through the National Visa Center takes about 6 months. So to go back to our friend's question, said the NBC accepted the documents last week, but did not get DQ'd yet. Do you know the reason? Yeah, and the reason is you just sent them last week. Not only do you have to send all the documents, but they have to be reviewed. They have to be reviewed. And that's going to take more than a week. So just sending the documents is not enough. You have to give them time to review them. And that process is going to take months, not weeks. We have here a friend from Abu Dhabi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Negra says, if canceled the tourist visa at the port of entry in the airport, is it mandatory to ask for a waiver? So you are trying to go to the US, you show up at the airport and they say, what's the purpose of your trip? They ask you a bunch of other questions. And then they send you home. They say, sorry, your visa is canceled. What can you do? Well, a waiver is not necessarily the answer. It could be the answer, but another possibility is that perhaps, maybe what's really going on here is that the people at the airport don't really think you're a visitor. They think that you're going to stay in the US and you're going to overstay your visa and you're going to continue living in the US. And a lot of times when they ask you questions at the airport, they're doing that to try to see whether they think that you're truly someone who's going to visit and then return to your home country, or are you someone who is going to actually show up and stay? Did that help, Negra? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have follow-up questions, let me know there. Do you guys have questions about tourist visas, visitor visas? Anyone having trouble with a visitor visa? Another thing to keep in mind, just because you get the visa doesn't mean that you're going to be allowed into the US. There's always the possibility that you could get someone at the airport who's having a bad day, and that person could cancel you out and not let you in. Here's a great question from Hawa Magonga on TikTok. How long can a green card holder stay out of the US? Wow, that is a great question. Okay, so if you are a green card holder, listen to what I have to say. You have a mandatory legal obligation to live exclusively and continuously inside the United States. You have to stay here in the US, in the nifty 50. You got to stay in the US. Well, what happens if you don't stay in the US? If you don't stay in the US, you lose your green card. And this is the point where people say, "But Josh, I know all sorts of people who have green cards and they're living here or there outside the US. They've had no problem. They've been doing it for years." Well, my friends, living outside the US with your green card is not permitted. And it only works until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, there's no fix, because at that point, people have been living outside the US, they have their green card, and they're just stuck. So you really have to be careful with what you're doing. But I didn't answer the question yet. The question was, how long can you stay outside the US? Well, the answer is it's your pattern of travel. Do you know what I mean? If I tell you you can't stay outside the US for more than 2 months, I'm just making this up, then you go, great. Maybe you go for 1 month and 27 days, and then you stay outside the US for 1 month and 27 days. You come back to the US for 1 day. Then you keep doing that. You're not living in the US. So it's not about the amount of time, it's your pattern of travel. You must live in the US. And when people really, really press me with follow-up questions, they say, well, no, but how long can I stay? I would say you can stay outside the US for 2 months a year. That's it. Does that make sense? All right. Basil shared this live. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Basil. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know. I will be here to answer any questions that you have. All right. Here we go. Can an asylee use a passport along with a travel document to enter a third country? No green card. In general, yes, you can do that. Make sure you don't travel to your home country, obviously, and make sure that you don't stay outside too long. All right, here's some more questions on YouTube we have here. Claudia Arambula. Hello, Claudia. Says, we are from Denver, Colorado, me and Moroccan him. K1 applied 2021. He had 2 interviews, and last week his passport was returned and he was given a 221G refusal. Well, Claudia, the first thing I want to say to you is I'm sorry that your better half, your lucky Moroccan guy, I'm sorry that he didn't get approved. I'm sorry that he was put in refuse, because I'm sure your expectation was that he deserved to get approved and he was going to get approved. So I'm really sorry to hear about that. What do you do about it? Well, the first thing I want to tell you is 221G refused does not mean what you think it means. When you get refused, you might think that the visa was denied. Okay? Refused seems like a denial, right? If I called and ordered a pizza and I said, hi, I want a pepperoni with double cheese pizza, and they say, sorry, I refuse your order. Well, I'm not going to get the pizza, right? But that's not the way it works in immigration world. In my world, which is immigration, refused means your case is pending. So I hope that's positive for you, Claudia. The other thing is, when you're in 221G, it means that they're reviewing your case. It means you're stuck, and you should try to wait it out for a couple of months. And if he doesn't get his visa, then you can there are techniques that we can use to try to help you get approved. And what we basically do is we go to court and we file a lawsuit against the consulate. We sue them. And the basis of the lawsuit is that the consulate has a mandatory legal obligation to make a decision within a reasonable period of time. Claudia, so you said no. The case was returned to USCIS and no longer in administrative processing. Okay, Claudia, I have more information for you. I hope you're listening because this is going to be very valuable to you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that means that the fiancé visa is over and done with. It's game over. Okay. You are not going to get that fiancé visa approved. It's basically denied. And so what you need to do is file another visa petition. You could either file another fiancé visa petition, which I do not recommend, or better yet, go to Morocco, marry your guy in Morocco, and then petition for him based on the fact that he's a U.S. citizen. No, he's your husband and you're a U.S. citizen. I'm just making this up, but that's the strategy that I recommend. Filing another fiancé visa would violate common sense because they already have denied one and they probably denied another. You also have to kind of think through why it was denied. Maybe they didn't believe. Maybe that they didn't believe that that the marriage relationship was genuine. I'm not sure. But you know, you really want to think it through. That's a case that we could definitely help you with. Here we have someone who says, Josh, you are my attorney. My father requested to attend a second interview after they requested his passport and medical test. Is it possible to schedule a time to discuss the case with you? Absolutely. Just reach out to my team and we can set that up. But let me give you general advice. Let me give you general advice for anyone who has a second interview. What happens is you have a visa that's delayed. Your case is stuck. And you already had an interview and it's been stuck in administrative processing for a long time. It's delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed, it's delayed. And we file a lawsuit to challenge the delay and boom, things get moving. They request a passport and they require you to do another medical exam, and they ask you to do another interview. And this is from our perspective as immigration lawyers who love helping people get visas and solving these horrible delays. From our perspective, it's very positive when they ask you to do a second interview because it means that the case is going to get approved and it's on track and things are moving and this is good. However, the clients, they get upset because not only have they had to wait a very long time because of the consulate's indifference or negligence, not only have they had to hire us to do a lawsuit, but to add insult to injury, they have to go, the consulate is making them jump through extra hoops, going back to the interview, waiting in line, doing another medical exam, especially for people's parents who may be elderly and have difficult traveling. It's a huge hassle and an expense. And people get really pissed off about that. And I understand that. But if you want the visa, you got to jump through the hoops. A second interview is a good thing and nothing to worry about. It's a hassle, but if you want the visa, that's it. You got to do it. Let me know if you have questions about the second interview. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know what your questions are. The second interview was about Army records and it was tough and lasted about 2 hours. Oh, that's tough. Without discussing the details of anyone's specific case, because as an attorney, I have to keep things confidential, but I just want to talk about this issue in general. If you are from Iran and you're male, then you're required to serve in the military unless you're exempt, right? And people who serve in the military are put in different sections of the military. They have conscription. In the U.S., we have a volunteer army, for better or worse. That's the way it works. But in Iran, you're required to serve in the military. If you serve in one particular branch of the military, it's called Sepa, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. If you serve in that area of the military in any capacity at all, you're not getting a visa to the U.S. Okay, I'm not saying that's fair or reasonable. I'm just telling you the way it is. So if you serve in SEPA, you're not going to get a visa to the U.S. And when somebody contacts us, we ask them if they're Iranian and male. We ask them if they served in SEPA. We ask them 2 or 3 times during our interactions to make sure that we don't take a case where somebody is going to get denied. Here's a great question. El Abdul on TikTok. He says, Josh, I'm scheduled for a first I-45 interview. Any advice? I have so much advice for this. Okay. If you're scheduled for an interview, you should dress nicely for the interview. You should arrive ahead of time. You should have paper copies of all the documents that you need. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, here's my phone. Let me show you what. No, USCIS is old school. Paper is the way to go. And the most important piece of paper that you need for the interview is the actual interview notice. Without the interview notice, they won't let you in the building. So you have to have the interview notice in person. You want to bring your driver's license. You want to bring your passport. You want to bring all your original documents like birth certificates. I always recommend before the interview, the night before the interview, obviously you want to get a good night's sleep, but I also think it's really important to print out your I-45 application and all the other relevant applications and read through them. Just read through them. And I can tell you right now, I can tell you all of the questions. I can tell you all of the questions that they're going to ask you in your I-45 interview. How do I know what those questions are? Well, they're the questions on the damn form. They're going to read you the form. And they read it line by line. What is your name? What is your address? What is your date of birth? What is your social security number? Are you married? Have you divorced? They're going to read through the questions. They're going to ask you if you've ever been arrested, etc. If your case is based on marriage, then that's a whole other conversation because you're going to have to prove that your marriage relationship is genuine. So let me know if you have follow-up questions. Facebook user says, Josh, I wrote an important question above. Can you please guide us? Okay. I don't know what your question is, so I'm not sure. Here's a question from EBK on YouTube. Hi, I have a question. If they denied your fiance visa and you want to apply for a marriage visa, you have to tell them all the information about your previous case? No. All you have to do is fill out all the information on the form. However, there is a question, have you ever been denied for a visa before? And if you've been denied for a visa, you have to tell them about it. But it's not a huge problem because for the most part, they already know that your case was denied. So it's okay. Don't worry about it. Here's a question from Zayed Asher Ali Zayadi. Hi, Josh. I have a question. It's over 60 days. I got DS 5535 in Pakistan. Can I try a lawsuit or wait some more? It's too soon to do a lawsuit for most people. So I don't know what kind of case you have. Let me know in the comments below, Syed. But most of the time, I'd like to see people waiting. Well, wouldn't say I'd like to see people waiting. I hope people get their visas without any waiting. But if you're considering a lawsuit, I would prefer that you wait, I would say 4 or 5 months before considering the lawsuit. F4 category. Syed, do you have an age out problem where someone's getting ready to turn 21? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to bounce back to TikTok and take some questions. Here's a question from Babyface Mark. Babyface Josh is answering questions from Babyface Mark. I recently saw a picture of myself from when I was in my 20s, and I am not baby faced now. I was baby faced when I was a baby. Mark says, if you are married to a person out of status and you're applying for citizenship, will it affect you? Okay, that's a great question, babyface Mark. Here's my answer. Don't lie on the damn form. Sometimes it'll say, are you married? And you're like, why? I am married. My wife is out of status, but I don't want to put that down there because she's going to get in trouble. So I'm going to lie on the form. I'm not going to put her name on there. That's a screw up. Don't do that. Put down her name, put down her information. Don't skip that. Okay. Do not skip that. Put that down. I've had USCIS officers, Mark, in this situation. They'll say to me, oh, your wife's undocumented? Well, great. Now we can approve your citizenship and then you can help her get a green card. So don't assume that they're against you. You know what I mean? Don't assume that they're against you. Let's see here. Mir Dost Mohammed Isa. Hello, Josh. We are on a pending asylum. My wife's brother filed a sibling-based I-130. What are the chances of approval? Also, what is the process for a lawsuit? It's been over 3 years of waiting. So let me break this down. A sibling-based I-130 can only help you get a green card if you're outside the U.S. If you're inside the U.S. and you're out of status, then it's probably not going to help you get a green card. Okay. I'm just saying that. Secondly, if your asylum application has been pending for 3 years or more, then we could file a lawsuit to challenge the delay. So that's my thoughts on this. Going back to Syed, says, my father got a DS 5535. He's the petitioner for the rest of the family. They said you're cleared, but they refused us all. Well, maybe due to his travel to Iraq, but not only my father and me, my mother. We went to Iraq for pilgrimage, but my father only has. Yeah, I mean, I think you should wait a couple more months, and then you should contact us, and we should consider a lawsuit. That's what I recommend. Let me know if you have questions about all this good stuff. Let me know. I'm here for you. Going to TikTok. You can call me Angel is joining us. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Welcome, friends. What's everybody up to this weekend? That's another question I'd like to hear you put in the comments below. Saturday is my son's birthday party. He's turning 6, and we're having it with another kid in his class. So all the little kids are going to be running around. We have a magician. We have a taco truck. We're ready to party. Get those kids going. All right. Let me know. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. You can call me Angel. Hit me up with a question. Can you tell me about the DACA? Well, yeah, I mean, you have to qualify for DACA. At this point, most people who are eligible for DACA already have DACA. So, but you can find so the DACA qualifications you can find online. But if you're eligible for DACA, even if you're eligible, USCIS is not. Oh, thank you, Lysandra. Eligible. USCIS is not taking the. You can file an initial DACA application, but they won't approve it. So I don't know how to. If that makes no sense to you, then I agree with you. But that's the way it is, right? Here's Syed says, having watched so many of your videos, you're an amazing guide. Thank you and your team for the amazing work that you do. No, thank you for sharing your time with me and for joining in. That's a high compliment, so I appreciate that. Here's a spicy question from a Facebook user. Our case, they're sending it back to USCIS from the consulate for possible revocation. Should we wait for USCIS to send us a letter of revocation, as we don't know how long it's going to take? Is it going to get denied? Our entire case is based on unmarried child F2B, and my sister had to wait to get married to move forward with her life. Because of this, she's not able to move forward. Yes, you should wait for the letter of the letter is called a notice of intent to revoke. And in the notice of intent to revoke, they're going to spell out in detail why the consulate wants to revoke your visa, and they give you a chance to respond and overcome the rejection. So I think you should wait. Here's a Facebook user saying, I've been waiting for 10 months for my waiver I-601 approval. After it gets approved, I like the optimism of this, by the way. After it gets approved, do I have to go back to see an officer, or my administrative process will change to issued and wait for my green card? I guess a follow-up question I would have for you is, are you outside the US or are you inside the US? If you're inside the US and you applied for a green card through adjustment of status, then once the waiver is approved, they typically will approve your I-45 and issue to you a green card. If you're outside the US, I don't think you're going to like what I'm going to say, but what typically happens is they'll approve your waiver, and then the consulate and the agency and USCIS don't coordinate well. So there's no way to get the waiver effectively. You'll be stuck. You might, hopefully you won't be stuck, but you might end up getting stuck. So we've had plenty of people like, oh my God, this is great. My I-601 is approved. I'm going to get my green card. And then they just are stuck waiting and waiting and waiting. Here's, I have a question. Why F2B not moving for almost 3 years, or anything we need to do? There's nothing you can do. The visa bulletin goes at its own pace, and it's very, very frustrating. It's completely frustrating.